Hi guys, welcome to another one of my gadget reviews. In today's video we're going to be looking at the 808-16 camera with the 120 degree wide angle lens. Now for those of you who are familiar with this camera, you'll notice that the overall design of the camera body is the same, with the exception of this big lens on the front here. For those who aren't, however, I'm going to give a quick overview of the whole camera. The case is made of plastic and has a rubberized coating which is very comfortable to hold and offers excellent grip. There are 4 buttons on the top of the camera. The 2 down here are fake buttons, they don't do anything at all. And the 2 at the top are your operating buttons that operate your shutter and your power and various other functions when used in combination. Over here you have an LED which displays the mode that you're in and what the camera is currently doing. On the side you have a Mini B USB connector. This is used for charging and data transfer. Over here you have a little hole, this is your reset button, and here is your trans flash card, which is a micro SD card. Now I'll just hold that side on there and you'll be able to see that it does protrude very slightly from the side. However, it's practically impossible to accidentally knock that out. The spring that holds it in is very strong. You need to push that in with a fingernail or similar, and it fits in with the pins at the top there. This particular card is a class 4 8GB card. The battery in the camera will last somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes on a full charge, and that will get you just over 2GB worth of data. So there's really no need to have anything larger than a 4GB card in here, unless you're intending to use it, for example, as a car dashboard cam, where it would be taking its power from the USB port via the charging socket in your car. Over on the right hand side there's nothing at all. Underneath there's nothing at all. At the front you have this huge wide angle lens, 120 degree lens, and here this little hole is for the microphone. At the back there is your hole for the keychain which comes with the camera, that comes supplied with the camera so that you can actually attach it as a key fob, and it comes also with a A2 Mini B USB lead. The keychain fob, in addition to the lead and the keychain, it also comes with a double-sided piece of sticky velcro, one side of which you can attach to the bottom of the camera and the other side you can attach to whichever surface you want to fix the camera to. So you can fix it onto your dashboard of your car, onto your motorcycle helmet, your bicycle helmet, your radio controlled vehicle, or even your cat or your dog should you decide to do so. I think this camera really is intended with the action cam and radio control enthusiast in mind, rather than an actual spy camera for any kind of covert use, because realistically you couldn't do anything covert with a great big lens sticking out the front like that, because it's blatantly obvious that this is a camera the minute that you point it at somebody. But having such a wide field of vision, the 120 degree field of vision as opposed to sort of the 60 degree field of vision, makes it great for action cam usage and for attaching to radio controlled vehicles. One other thing in the package which I neglected to mention there is a lead which enables you to use this connect to a television via an S-video socket, so you can record images straight onto a DVD, for example, or just preview them on your television. That lead also splits apart so that you can connect it to a transmitter which could then send a signal to a receiver on the ground for a radio controlled aircraft enthusiast, and you could get a live, as it happens, pilot's eye view of your flying and record the information while it's going on as well. The camera can also be used as a webcam. To be used as a webcam, the USB lead needs to be connected, but the camera needs to be switched on and recording before you do that, because once you connect the USB lead it will go into charging mode. If you then try to switch it on, it won't allow you to record, because this will also act as a data transfer mode because it's connected to your computer. If you're using it as a car dashboard cam, however, you can plug it into your charging socket, your cigar lighter socket, and switch it on and off as you wish. And switch it on and off at will while it's actually charging. What you cannot do is have it so that it switches itself on and off automatically. However, this has to be done manually. So we'll just go through the functions of the buttons now. To switch the camera on, with the old one you just had to give it a short press. Now you'll see with this one, if you do that, you get a flash of the LED, but a short press won't switch it on. The intention of this is so that you don't accidentally switch it on in your pocket. Unfortunately, it doesn't require a long enough press to switch it on, and I have inadvertently drained the battery by recording the inside of my pocket a couple of times. So you need a slightly longer press to switch it on. You'll see the LED come on red and then it switches to yellow to show that it's in video mode. Press the top button, the shutter button, it will flash for a couple of seconds and switch off, and this shows it's recording. This is the default setting, which again is great for covert use. You can change this in the settings so that it flashes continuously while it's recording, which is very useful so that you know it's recording, because the only way to know it's recording in this mode is either a quick press of the on-off button, which will show a yellow light flashing and take an image if it's recording, and it will flash a red light if it's actually stopped recording, i.e. if the battery's gone flat. And the only other way, of course, is to actually switch it off, and it will flash red if the battery's flat, and it will go to a solid yellow if it's still recording, but then of course you've stopped the recording and you have to start it again. If you press the shutter button again while it's in video mode, let's get that back onto there. Press the shutter button again while it's in video mode, you'll see the red LED illuminate, and this shows that it's in photo mode. If you press the shutter button, you likely won't be able to see it on this video, but you do get a little flash of the yellow LED to indicate that an image has been taken. If you press the shutter button again, if you press the power button again, it goes back to video mode, and then if you long press and hold until the LED extinguishes, this switches the camera off. Now personally, I would have liked that to have been the other way around, where you need a press of that kind of length to switch the camera on and a shorter one to switch it off, because once it's switched on and recording, you can't inadvertently just switch it off. Or even an equal press for both of them, just to make it a bit better for when it's bouncing around in your pocket, because there's nothing quite so frustrating when you've gone out to take some video and then you find out that you've actually been filming the inside of your pocket and your battery's completely flat. So that's the operation of the camera. If you need to reset everything to its default settings, you have a reset button at the side here, and you need something like a paper clip or a thin piece of wire to poke in there and reset it. And if you need to edit the configuration file, using a combination of these buttons, as you can see on my other video about editing the configuration file, you can write the config file to the card, read it off the card, edit it, copy it back to the card, and using the same combination of these buttons, flash it back to the camera memory. And the settings, as you saw earlier, cover quite a range of features. And now, for anybody that's familiar with the RC Groups forum, there's a user on there that's actually created a utility. I believe there's an Android version, and there's also a PC version, which is a typical GUI interface, and that allows you to plug in your camera and make changes without editing the config file. And there are a couple of extra little features in there, which may or may not be useful for you. I'm not going to go into those because it's not something I've used, so I don't really know enough to advise on that. But if you have a look on the RC Groups forum, then you'll find threads related to that particular piece of software, and also relating to what you can do with it. So what we're going to do now is go on to some footage. I have some footage of the camera which I have to say is absolutely excellent. There's footage indoors going from light to dark in a shopping centre, there's footage outdoors, there's dash mounted footage, and I've also got some side-by-side footage comparing it with the Xdreme camera, which you can see in my other reviews. Now they're two completely different cameras, of course. The Xdreme is a full-on action sports camera. It's designed for that purpose. It has an LCD screen. It has various features. It's all editable on the fly. You can preview what you've recorded. It's fully waterproof, and so on and so on. But it's also more expensive than this. It's a completely different animal. But just to show you really how good a quality the video from this little cheap camcorder is, I've got those side-by-side comparisons. So we'll go to the video previews now, and you can take a look at those. This is a test of the 808-16 with wide-angle 120-degree lens at eye level in the car with the windows up, and when we're can get that onto a computer, we'll have a look, see what the video and the sound are like. In clip 1, you saw the camera in-car and the typical sound that you would expect when driving, using it as an in-car camera with the windows closed on the vehicle. With the windows open, a little noise was evident, but not so much if the camera was mounted on the dashboard. In this clip, you see me walking through a busy shopping centre. It's a very bright day outside and typically dull inside, as you can see, and you can see the variances from light to dark as I pass through the windowed sections. In this next clip, we're taking a look down from the upper floor of the shopping centre into the dining area below with a short pan around so that you can see with the differences between the lighter area up at the top of the video and the darker area closer to the bottom. This next clip is very interesting as it shows the transition from a very bright outdoor sunny day through a dark corridor and into a typically lit indoor shopping centre. As you can see, the camera transitions very well between these. This clip shows the interior of a very dimly lit and crowded store selling tools and hardware. I included this clip to give a demonstration of how the camera copes in low light situations. As you can see, the colours are somewhat washed out compared to the outdoor scenes, but the camera does cope admirably well. In reverse to the earlier clip, I walk outside from a typically lit indoor shopping centre to a very bright sunny outdoors so that you can again see the transition from dark to light. This next short clip demonstrates a very odd effect I noticed on previewing the file. I happened to be following a bus which used LED lights for the number and also the brake lights and indicators, and as you can see in the clip you get a very strange flickering effect, which is presumably due to the frame rate of the camera. Slightly tilted. This next clip was taken to demonstrate night driving. This was around 6 PM on a winter's evening. It was very overcast, very dark, and it was a miserable wet night, as you can see. And in this clip we transition from unlit roads into a streetlit area, and considering that the camera isn't actually intended for nighttime use, I think it copes surprisingly well. This split screen shows footage from the Xdreme camera at 1080p in the upper left hand corner. At 1080p the Xdreme camera shoots at a narrower field of vision. In the lower right is the 808 at 720p. In the final piece of footage from the test, we see both cameras shooting at 720p 60 frames per second at 120 degrees. In the upper left is the Xdreme cam, and in the lower right is the 808 Keychain cam. So we've now covered the video previews, and that gives you an idea of the quality of this camera. That's pretty much the end of the reviews, with the exception of just mentioning that I bought this particular camera and the associated components from an eBay seller called Elatop Online, who comes highly recommended because some of the other sellers that supposedly sell the 808-16 HD keychain camera are actually selling older, lower resolution versions, hence the reason that they're slightly cheaper. So I can highly recommend this seller. The shipping was very, very fast, the service was excellent, so anybody wanting to purchase one, I recommend look up the seller Elatop Online on eBay. I will put those details in the comments below so that you can see how that's spelled, and if you do get one, then I hope you enjoy it and upload some of the footage so that we can all enjoy it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video review of the 808 Keychain camera. If you enjoyed this video, please comment and rate below, and don't forget to click subscribe.